Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Hopefully everyone can hear me. You are in App Innovation, the key to unlocking future success. Hopefully you're all in the right spot. We're going to get started in just 1 second, making sure everything sounds good. Awesome. I'm getting confirmation from the team. So let's get into it. Hello, my name is Chris Hood. I am a digital strategist at Google Cloud. I am from Southern California, and I am the host of our podcast, That Digital Show. So I hope that you will all go check that out as a personal favor for me. And in the meantime, I'm also supplying you with my contact address, my email. Feel free to write that down if you have any questions throughout the show today, or if you have any questions later on in the week. Feel free, reach out to me, let me know how I can help. Happy to do so. For today, we've got a nice little agenda put together. I'm going to do a little introduction on today's topic. We're going to look at just some information around these different pillars about application innovation. We have 3 of them that we're going to cover, and we're going to piece that together slowly as we progress through today's topic. We're going to talk about the outside-in perspective. We're going to talk about innovation. We're going to talk about using and leveraging data to support your APIs, and of course, customer experience. At the end, we will have time for Q&A, so stick around and don't hesitate. If you have a question, you can immediately start to enter that question into the system right now. Here is a brief overview of probably what you're seeing in front of you. It may be a little different, but there is a toolbar. It has sections for the information. It has information for you to take away with you, and it has a place where you can start to ask questions. So feel free, immediately you can ask questions at any point in time, and towards the end, we'll get into those and I'll answer them accordingly, or for the best questions. So make sure that they're good, okay? Okay, introduction. Here's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to start off with a quick little poll. What do you think is the percentage of digital consumers that actively seek to buy from the most innovative companies? Go ahead, enter your choice in that. We'll look at the results in just a moment. Okay, I'm actually going to give you a couple seconds to enter this in, because I'm actually now going to give you the answer. And that is 59%. 59% of digital consumers expect companies to be more innovative. This is critical for what we're going to be talking about, because if your company is not thinking about innovation consistently, those consumers that you have might start to look for other companies that are providing those innovative experiences. Some other stats for you here. 62% of organizations believe new customer preferences for digital experiences will remain strong post-pandemic. I think we're starting to see things like that. Like, how many of you expect that curbside pickup will stay? I'm sure a lot of you do. I think one of the big numbers here is that 83% of consumers are willing to share their data to help companies personalize their experiences. I don't know if you're in that boat, but clearly as you start to engage with other types of companies that you trust, you are more willing to share your data. But here's the really interesting stat. 73% of digital consumers expect companies to know their needs before even asking them. How do we do this? This is all about innovation. Let's start with APIs, because quite frankly, APIs will help you accomplish all of these things we're talking about. If we look at the history and the maturity of APIs over the last several decades even, we started off with APIs coming around about 1995, and they were just a means by which you can build this RESTful architecture, get access to content, get access to data. That's what it started off as. As APIs became a little bit more mature, they became an integration mechanism. And that integration allowed you to connect different types of services together. We saw that with the foundation of Facebook, allowing you to connect people together, allowing you to connect different types of services together. And then when we got around to 2007, we got to the connected experiences. And this is really around the time the iPhone matured. iPhone came out, and all of a sudden we were all connected. We were able to connect to different types of technologies. We were able to put the power in the palm of our hand. And around 2007, again, experiences became the big thing. As we further progressed, we get into 2010, and this was really the age, the ultimate age of Amazon. Amazon had already been around, but the concept of building business ecosystems and evolving outside of your walls and connecting different businesses together so that you can generate new business models and profit from that became the mandate, really, for everyone. Today, we are seeing what we call intelligence. We're leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning to become a little bit more predictive. And predictive not only with the data, but our ability to speed to market, scale our applications, and to generate stability, especially today when we know things can be disrupted. And these 1x, 5x, 10x's is that when we see organizations take these philosophies, whether they're 1x or 5x or 10x, they become that much more profitable. So imagine 10xing your current business today because you're leveraging intelligence around your APIs. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So here's our poll results. I'm going to assume that a lot of you waited until I actually gave you the answer and then you entered it in, but that's okay. At least it sticks with you. Yes, 59% of people want to buy from innovative companies. So let's make you more innovative today. The technology conundrum. What is it? Well, the first thing to understand is what really is an API. We've talked about APIs already, but APIs are application programming interfaces that really connect everything we do together today. All of your communications via phones, everything that you do online, if you connect to a smartphone, to a smart home, to a smart car, if you're telling your thermostat to turn on, okay, Google, and I'm sure my Google devices are going to go off on me. All of that is driven by APIs. When you go to Starbucks to order a cappuccino and you get your loyalty rewards points, all of that are driven by APIs. And so if we understand that APIs is really the foundation between everything from banking to shopping to booking a flight and travel, then we start to wonder, how do we make experiences out of these? Well, if you think about everything we do in life, as I just mentioned, every single one of those things start with a moment. There are moments in time where we want to engage with something, whether it's in our home or our car or our friends or a business, and those moments generate these experiences. Multiple moments together can create an experience. And of course, if you get multiple experiences together and you chain those together, we get what we call a customer journey. And those journeys are going to have moments of happiness and sadness, likes, dislikes, love, hate, creating this unique dynamic experience throughout that journey. And a lot of times companies focus on what we call the customer journey to see from a starting point to an ending point, whether that's from the moment they walk into a store to the moment they leave and buy something and are happy. We track this. But of course, we can also tie all of these journeys together into what we might call an ecosystem of journeys. And all of those journeys mapped together might actually start before they even come into your business or even after they leave your business. And these ecosystems are growing dramatically as we get more APIs out in the world. If we were to bring back that maturity model and really break this down from a journey perspective, you might see some key elements here. The access, how API started on the far left, that gets us into the journey, but that's all it does. We've got the integration piece, which is really connecting us between one system and another system, or one software and another software. And it's focused primarily on that integration between applications or between experiences here. We can focus on the experience itself. We can map a couple of those experiences together to get this transformational perspective, or we can include the person themselves to start to look at it more intelligently, bringing us that 10x. So I'm not sure where all of you are at in terms of your maturity, but what we want to ultimately get you to is this intelligence perspective. Now, if we go back and we think about these moments, I'm going to give you something to reflect on throughout today's conversation, and that is that a moment can really be represented as an API. If we think about it in that context for the rest of today, that's awesome. And some more stats for you. There's 10.8 billion, now it's an estimate number, of connections that are using APIs each day. Hold on to that number. 99.9% of enterprises that have and are using APIs, that's obviously almost everyone. And of course, 100% of the connected applications out there are using APIs today. If you want to really look at the numbers, this is it. 16 quintillion API calls are being made every minute. Again, this is estimated, but it's pretty close, considering that Google alone is doing some 10-something trillion per minute already. And then you add on everybody else that is out there. That's a lot of API transactions. And these experiences are critical to ensuring those happen. One example of this is Ulta Beauty. Ulta Beauty has created and leveraged APIs to really power new virtual experiences for their consumers. They've got a virtual beauty advisor where you can actually take your phone, hold it up, and try on makeup in real time virtually. This has delivered 40% in increased sales over the last year, especially since most people had to shop from home. And they have these incredible hybrid methods and technology set up so that they can go across different clouds, leveraging APIs. And they've brought on thousands of SKUs just in the last year to support all of their sales. It's huge and massive. And this is just one example how leveraging APIs can grow your business from that experience perspective. The other thing that we want to look at is an outside-in perspective. The outside-in perspective, which we'll get into, is all about how your customers look at your business. So another poll question for us here is, our organization has a clear digital ecosystem strategy that includes, and this is your option, there's no right or wrong answer here, sharing APIs for our internal teams only, sharing APIs for internal and external teams, sharing APIs publicly to anyone, including competitors, and sharing APIs and monetizing them to generate revenue. You answer. I'd love to see where your organization is currently thinking about APIs. And we'll show some results here in just a moment. So I mentioned outside in. It's a design perspective. It starts outside of your organization from a customer's point of view, and then it flows inside to the company. The key here is that you're developing products that have an understanding of what your consumers want. This gets into, how do you develop things before they even ask for them? You have to maintain this outside-in perspective. And we do that by leveraging APIs as products. The APIs become the products. APIs are no longer solely about integration. If you can package them up as a product that can be shared across your organization in different vehicles, in different channels, and different platforms. That's the key here. And products have a life cycle. APIs can have a life cycle as well. You can design them, you can document them, you can market them, you can sell them, and you can analyze them to generate additional insights as to what can be improved. You can iterate on them just like you would any other product within your organization. And that creates the foundation for an ecosystem. Once you have these products that you can distribute across your API platform, you can begin targeting partners, you can begin sharing across social media platforms, you can find aggregators and fans and influencers of your products that will use them to drive additional revenue and growth. This is the foundation of your ecosystem, which, by the way, and again, we'll get into this in a moment. If you have external partners working on applications for you, you expand your ability to innovate. That's the key in bringing in business ecosystems to your API program. Here is our poll results. It's looking like, a lot of sharing is going on. But yeah, that gives you something to think about. And we're going to dive in a little bit more to sharing APIs publicly, and of course, sharing APIs and monetizing them to help you generate some revenue. If we look at an outside-in perspective, again, this is a banking flow. Just, if there's anyone in finance watching today, just to give you, again, an insight as to how we might look at this from developing API products and designing that from the outside in. A lot of times organizations start with the data that they have, which would be on the right, in their back-end services, and they begin to build these integrations across their organization so that they can give your consumers different types of experiences. That is an inside-out perspective. You're starting with the data, you're exposing that data, and you're trying to build these integrations to develop these services. And the real question is how do you generate revenue from that? What is the value proposition within that integration? If we flip this around a little bit and we look at it from the outside in perspective, we are starting specifically with a service that the consumer is asking for or that they need. And as you begin to build that, there is value for the customer. It's something they want. And we can connect these together. If we start to look back at our maturity model and we say that from an outside in, I can begin to create this example banking journey where we step through going to a bank, accessing an account, depositing money, getting rewards redeemed. This is a great example of how the experience perspective of an outside in fits together. As we begin to add more to that and create the complete journey and connect all of these API products together, under each one of these experiences, you're going to see a little API symbol. Those would be your API products. And you can interchange these API products, share them, distribute them. And this is where we build our ecosystems. This is where we build our APIs as products to allow us to create this end-to-end journey from an outside-in perspective. And you can adapt this as much as you need. And then when we start to get into the intelligence of this, understanding what works and what doesn't, what influences a customer and what doesn't, now we can influence our products directly by saying our employees or our customers or our partners are all having a rough experience here. How do we change it to improve it, to make it a better experience? And some more numbers for you. 96% of API leaders have reported a stronger customer perception when they have an API ecosystem. And 6.8% on average is seeing revenue growths over the past 3 years. Something to think about. I've got some more numbers. 92.9, 92.2% is the average improvement of speed to market for enterprises that engage in an API-first culture. And 103.4% on average an improvement of scaling the business in the marketplace when they have an API-first enterprise. These are big, strong numbers for you to consider. Another example is a company called Magalu. They are basically the Amazon of Brazil, if you want to look at it that way. And over the course of several years as an Apigee customer developing an API-first enterprise, they were able to substantially grow their business. And these numbers just came in a couple of weeks ago. They have migrated 113 apps in less than 60 days, and today has 47,000 sellers on their platform. They now support over 26 million SKUs, which are all living in APIs, and they have a growth rate right now of 131%. And I know you're all sitting here thinking, how do I do this? You already know. It's called an API. Another quick question for you. Today, AI and machine learning is a part of our API product strategy. A simple yes or no. Okay? If we look at the 3 pillars of innovation, application innovation, and just so that everyone is aware, this is an introduction to an ebook series that we are launching over the course of the next several weeks. We are going to have webinars and podcasts all outlining these 3 different pillars of application innovation. What we're covering here today is just touching on what we're going to cover over these several weeks within our ebooks and our webinars and our podcast. These were the 3 main things that we looked at in our maturity model: the experiences, the ecosystems, and the intelligence or data for your APIs. When we break that down into the real pillars, these are the 3 things that you all should be thinking about. How do you create better customer experiences? How do you build business ecosystems to expand and to innovate faster? And how do you drive data-powered innovation? These 3 pillars are what we will be covering over the next several weeks. And here's our results. Let's see. Yes. Yes, there's a lot of yeses. I love it. For those of you who are saying no, that's okay. You can get there. It's a mindset shift. All you have to understand is that this is driving innovation today. And the more that you can get behind a digital API-first mindset, the more successful you're going to be. There's a lot of ways that we look at this paradigm shift within an organization between really a very traditional approach versus a digital approach, a very structured approach versus a very organic approach. And I mentioned earlier, if you had a bunch of third-party individuals externally coming into your API platform and developing for you, you might have something like this, where exponentially your innovation can scale and grow and be faster with thousands of transactions happening and thousands of partners developing for you in real time. That's what we saw at Magalu. We're seeing it at a lot of our customers who are engaged in this type of approach. Another way we can look at that is simply from the scale of effort versus number of customers. And we see that as you get more mature in your API program, the level of effort declines and the number of customers you receive grows. You get there faster and you get there with the things, if we go back to the 59%, that customers are looking for. And this can all happen within a platform. So if you have an API management platform like Google's Apigee, it can all bring the journeys, the API products, all of the services, allowing you to scale 10 times faster, to reduce your time to market from months to days by leveraging items, including additional levels of security, analytics, ways to engage with your developers. All of this can be packaged together as a singular view of how a digital and API-first mindset works. Developing this platform for innovation connects all of these people. It connects your customers, it connects your clients, it connects third-party partners, and building these products. Again, here's another example as API as a product for, say, a bank, online banks and connected branches and banking as a platform. But we can mimic this for any business. It could be retail as a platform. It could be insurance as a platform. It could be sales as a platform. It can be anything you want, as long as you start to package these as API products and build them into a mindset that encourages innovation and ecosystems and intelligence on top of your experiences. A couple of last numbers for you. We've seen substantial growth when it comes to building ecosystems. 27% of profits are growing higher. 20% of is the average for all industries. And another number for you, when you adopt an API-first mindset, we have seen market capitalization grow by 12.7%. And a really strong success story we have is with an Indonesian bank called Bank BRI. And I'll just focus in on the center left bullet point. Their API program contributes to an additional $50 million in revenue by monetizing their APIs and wrapping intelligence around those APIs so that those APIs can become smarter and more predictive, allowing their customers to get what they want before they even ask for them. That is the key here. I mentioned earlier that we have a couple of pillars and a couple of events. Here you are. On August the 5th, we are going to be talking about customer experience with HP, and they have a wonderful story about building customer experiences within their products, like their home inkjet printers. On August 26th, we are going to be speaking with Schneider Electric and how they have built a business ecosystem across their organization. And then on September the 16th, we've got a data-powered innovation with a surprise guest. So yes, you are going to need to stay tuned and find out and join us for each one of these series to learn more about application innovation. As I mentioned, my name is Chris Hood, and there is my email. I think we have just a couple of minutes. I'll take a couple of minutes here for some questions, and we'll look through those and we'll wrap up. Let's see. Oh yeah, lots of questions. Holy moly. So I'll also say, we're not going to get to everybody's question. If I don't get to your question, you can email me directly, and I'm happy to respond to you and give you some thoughts on whatever it is that you would like to talk about. Let's see, first one here. How do we get our teams thinking more outside in? Yeah, that's a fairly straightforward, good question. It's, as I said, some of this is a mindset shift. This is, very challenging for a lot of organizations because they are so used to saying, what do we want to build? We're going to build it, and have the mindset of, well, if we build it, they will come, right? And it doesn't really work that way anymore. You have to really understand what your customers want. You can do that through polls. You can do that through surveys, some of the basic stuff to better understand what they want. But the more you add, say, artificial intelligence, machine learning into your experience so that you can see what your customers are actually doing, and then driving updates to your products directly based on that, and constantly reciting a mantra of outside in. What do our customers want? The moment somebody internally says, well, we have some data and let's expose it, and I have a really good idea, I think we should build an API for this, or we should build an experience for this, you have to ask yourselves, what would our customers ask for? If you can continuously do that internally, all the better. Let's see another one here. Monetizing our APIs is not possible. What alternatives do you suggest to generating revenue? Okay. Well, the first thing I'm going to ask is, why is it not possible? The honest answer is that for every single one of you, it is 100% possible. You may choose not to do it. That's your choice, and that's fine. But it is absolutely possible. And so you might ask, well, our data is secure. Our data is confidential. Our data is proprietary. Our data is fill in the blanks. There is probably something in your services, whether it's, we'll call it a secret sauce, or magic in a bottle, or anything you want to call a process that's probably beyond the data that potentially could be monetized. I think this is a much bigger question, which requires a lot of time to investigate what your services are. But I don't want you to get discouraged and think that just because you're a certain type of business, you can't possibly monetize your assets. You can. As far as other mechanisms, well, we have seen some of our customers do internal monetization, say internal chargebacks of their APIs between different business units. We have seen where the results of the APIs and the application innovation, which we're talking about, directly drives additional lines of revenue because you've built new APIs to support that innovation. So just because we might not talk specifically about monetizing APIs directly doesn't mean that the APIs can't generate revenue for your organization. It's just in how you leverage them. So there's something to think about. I think we may have time for one more quick question. I do see a lot of people asking about the deck and the presentation, so I'll just wrap up with this. This entire presentation is being recorded. It is going to be available. You will be able to share it with friends and coworkers and your parents if you would like. And so we will reach out to you and let you know when that's available, and then you can share it and watch it again and get all of the information. As far as the ebook, I mentioned Fueling App Innovation. We have an ebook that is going to be available today, and that is going to be available at that URL, which is available also in your resources for the webinar. Feel free to go through, download that, hear everything that we have to say on application innovation. And that is our intro ebook for this whole series. We will have more ebooks to come. Hopefully you can get to that. And then we just ask for some feedback for today's show. Feel free to log in, share your thoughts and opinions. We would love to hear about it. And thank you. Appreciate it so much for your time and listening. Hopefully you found the content exciting and interesting, and hopefully you've left with something that you can take back to your business so that you can begin innovating today. Thank you all. Talk to you soon, and see you at our next event. Goodbye.